how you start your journey as an artist.
Oh well, that's a good question actually. As like I believe everyone else, I started with this thing right here. You might know
Mhm.
him as Goku, right? Well,
Yes.
as a very young boy, I started like watching cartoons and just I loved anime, manga, like American comics like Spider-Man and Batman, and I just
Mhm.
grew up with this, and I started like drawing since I was 6 years old. I mean, I
Mhm.
had this passion for create and for recreate what I love to see. X-Men characters, Digimon, Pokemon, whatever you can call it. And after that, what really made me change my whole perspective about the life I wanted to have was video games. This particular
Okay.
one is one of my favorite games ever, which is called Marvel
Mhm.
vs. Capcom. Some of you might know, might have ever heard of it. It's
Mhm.
such a big part of my childhood, and after like playing and playing and playing, one day I remember I here in Mexico I just heard
Mhm.
that the professional career of animation was available for us, and I said to myself, this is what I want to do, this is what I will
Mhm.
do, and 12 or 15 years later here I am doing what I love.
Yeah. Great, great, great. So, your advice for being productive and achieve goals as an artist.
Okay, well, in order for achieve goals, I will say like whatever level you are, no matter how good or how bad you feel you are, always work with reference. Right now, you can see this is my one of my latest projects. It's like Dark Knight Returns Batman, based on the Frank Miller designs. And I mean, I have put so many hours into this, but always, I reopen this in order to work again. I always have tons of references of it, and right now I'm going to show you one of the ways to do this. I work
Mhm.
with a program called Pure Ref, and Pure Ref
Okay.
is basically a blackboard where you can post your references, and I have
Mhm.
this big board of different things I have in mind every time I'm working. In this first board, for example, I have faces, I have general proportions, I have like the kind of feeling this Batman charges in himself because he's an old man. Then you can see
Yeah.
some reference of the cape on details, different ways of other artists have put into this design. So this is the other thing I have in mind in order to work in this. And then some other references for anatomy and proportions and ways to portray the character I would like to work in it. So I will say if you whenever you are going to work into any project, always work with a ton of references. All the pro artists out there always shows their boards of references because this is vital for you to actually have a clear mindset of what you are doing. So this I will say this is the gold tip. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, how can an artist improve their art faster?
Okay. In order to improve faster, well,
Yep.
the another great tip I will tell you is when I started with my career, I was also a teacher, and one of the
Mhm.
things I said to my students was, um, learn to fail faster. And what is this? What I meant with this? Um, every time you want to create something, let's say you want to learn about the hand, the human hand, right? So you don't
Yep.
know anything about anatomy. So you want the best course, you want the best teacher, you want to find the best references. You want to find the ultimate hands course out there. But the reality is, the way you are actually going to learn about hands is you put yourself into creating a hand. Okay, let's say something like, if you even don't know how to create it, and you draw it 5 times, you might at the end of those 5 drawings not have like the ultimate hand, but what you are going to have is 5 ways of not creating a hand. And that is so much valuable. That is so incredible valuable, because every time you now draw something, you are going to have all that knowledge in mind. So you might not notice, but in this particular hand, there are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hands I have created in order to actually learn how the knuckles are connected to the bones, and how everything is it's going to wrap up in order to express that emotion. But what you're seeing here is not one hand, but thousands of hands I have created, you know? So the most precious tip I will tell you is fail faster. Another way to put it is something like this. It's actually pretty straightforward. Let's say you want to create one sculpture, right? One character.
Okay.
And you have 1 month to create it. Okay? But let's say you create that same character 4 times in 1 month. Okay?
Okay.
It's the same amount of time, but the difference here is, here you're going to create 1 head, 1 set of hands, 1 pair of arms. But right here, in the next option, you're going to create the same thing, but 4 times. 4 heads, 4 hands, 4 arms. It's the same amount of time, but at the end, you're going to learn so much more for recreating that same mistake over and over and over and over, because we can create that perfection is the ultimate goal, and it is not. We are not seeking perfection, actually. We are just seeking to be better from the artist we were yesterday. So just put yourself into creation, and you will learn so much more about yourself, because at the end you are the best teacher you can ever have. So yeah, fail faster, my friends. That's what I think.
So, for an artist, setting goals in their art, why that's important?
Oh yeah, setting goals. Well,
Yeah.
as I told you, every time I start a new project, I always think like, what am I going to create, right? I mean, when I was first working on this Batman, I was like, what do I want to accomplish with this one? So it is going to be a project for animation. It is going to be a project for video games. It is going to, what do I want to learn with this guy? Okay. So every time I start something new, I start by searching references, and I start in order to have a clear view of what I'm going to do. So recently, I made a project of a classical, I don't know how to call it, classical style, like this kind of classical statues. So in order to correctly point it in my mind, what I did first was set a goal. I wanted to create a classic style female character. Okay? Then I started with references. So I have a whole like folder of my references in order to best picture in my mind what I want to accomplish. Once I got that, then I said to myself, every time I'm going to work on this, I'm going to sit for 5 minutes and think, in the next 8 hours, today, what do I want to accomplish? So I say, today I want to create, I don't know, the hands. So I have this reference
Okay.
of classical hands. So today, this is 8 hours of hands. And this is so valuable because you can, you can put 80 hours to those hands and not finish them. Or you can finish them in 8 hours if you put that clear mind in your mind before start to work. So yeah, it's not only something you do the first day of the project. Is something you gotta do every single day in order to be productive. Because if you don't do this, you are going to lose yourself into 1 week of face, another week of body, another week of clothing, and then you are 3 months into that project, and it seems endless, like an endless and impossible to finish project. And that is really mind consuming. You are going to burn out fast. So you gotta put yourself like a schedule, and you gotta stick to the plan. Always stick to your plan. How many hours do I have to do this to finish it? Then finish it. Because if not, your portfolio is not going to improve, and your skills are not going to improve either. And believe me when I tell you, when the project goes bigger than yourself, there's nothing that is going to, like, the contrary of motivate you less. There's nothing that is going to scare you most than a project that seems bigger than your skills. Then that can be really harmful for your not only productivity but for your progress also. So yeah, a schedule and the correct mindset every day. That's what I will tell you.
Which mistake you did in your early days, and your advice, how can an artist overcome from those mistakes now?
Okay, well, what I will tell you about this is, um, look for what you want to do. I mean, when I started with my professional career, I didn't know I want to be like a character artist. I just wanted to be like involved in the animation industry and video games. But then I discovered like this role called digital sculpting, and I tell to myself, this is what I want to do. This is the kind of job the kind of role I want to be involved, and I'm going to be involved every day in it, right? But what I didn't in that moment studied about the role was what does a character artist does. And a character artist is someone who is actually pretty good in anatomy, pretty good in color, pretty good in silhouette, in weight, in, I mean, so many things, right? So I didn't do my homework on that stuff. And I found myself right now trying to relearn a lot of stuff. So now I'm focusing more on color and anatomy, which are the basics of my own role, you know? So in order to avoid that mistake, I will tell you, learn what you, once you decide what you want your role to be, learn what are you expected to do. Because maybe you are expected to be good like in animation, you gotta be good at timing, you gotta be good with tempo, with, I don't know, movement and fluidity of the actions. So if you want to be good at something, you gotta learn, or you gotta be really clear on which are the main basics of that role. You know what I mean? So in my case, I will tell to my past self, you gotta learn about anatomy and color. And right now I'm going to show you like the difference in my case that something as basic as color can do. I mean, this is the character with and without color. So you can see there's a lot of difference. It's the same character, but one of them has color and the other one doesn't. And it's so huge. It's so huge. But at the beginning, I didn't want to be good at color, and right now I see that it was a mistake, because it is basic in my role to know that stuff and actually to apply it. All the employers expect me to be good at this, so I will be like in another level if I will have learned this like 3 or 4 years ago, and now I have to relearn everything. I start thinking in a way in which anatomy and color plays a major role in my work, you know. So I would tell you that have really present which role you want to develop, and once you know that you decided, then learn the basics of that role. Get good, get really good in those basics, and you will be a better artist every single day. I can promise you that.